Some major news just got released this evening that is rocking the Trump administration. Signalgate continues. The New York Times is now reporting that Pete Hegseth shared classified information in another Signal group chat, separate from the one that included the editor at The Atlantic that we all know about. So there's so much in this story to discuss. And then later, I want to show you a statement from a former top Pentagon spokesperson who's a huge supporter of Donald Trump, saying that there's more to come out about Pete Hegseth in the coming days this upcoming week. So let's dive right in, get into some of these details. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth shared detailed information about forthcoming strikes in Yemen on March 15th in a private Signal group chat that included his wife, brother, and personal lawyer, according to 4 people with knowledge of the chat. Pete Hegseth is just sharing classified information with his buddies, with his family members, with his wife, just putting it all out there, compromising America's security. Some of those people said that the information Mr. Hegseth shared on the Signal chat included the flight schedules for the FA-18 Hornets targeting the Houthis in Yemen. Essentially, the same attack plans that he shared on a separate Signal chat the same day that, of course, mistakenly included the editor of The Atlantic. Now, here's where it gets weird. Mr. Hegseth's wife, Jennifer, a former Fox News producer, because of course, is not a Defense Department employee, but she has traveled with him overseas and drawn criticism for accompanying her husband to sensitive meetings with foreign leaders. Mr. Hegseth's brother, Phil, and Tim Parlator, who continues to serve as his personal lawyer, both have jobs in the Pentagon, but it is not clear why either would need to know about upcoming military strikes aimed at the Houthis in Yemen. The reason why it's not clear is because they would have no reason to have access to that information and have no reason to be privy to that information. They do not have a security clearance. Of course, Mr. Hegseth's wife also does not have a security clearance. There's no reason why she should be in this chat and be hearing this information that, once again, is crucial to America's security. But as we know, Republicans are very lax when it comes to America's secrets, as we're seeing right now time and time again with Pete Hegseth. The previously unreported existence of a second Signal chat in which Mr. Hegseth shared highly sensitive military information is the latest in a series of developments that has put his management and judgment under scrutiny. Unlike the chat in which The Atlantic was mistakenly included, the newly revealed one was created by Mr. Hegseth. It included his wife and about a dozen other people from his personal and professional inner circle in January before his confirmation, and was named Defense/Team Huddle, the people familiar with the chat said. He used his private phone rather than his government one to access the Signal chat. I imagine that Hillary Clinton is reading this right now and laughing at Trump, Pete Hegseth, and all the Trump supporters who admonished her for years about something similar. She was cleared of all wrongdoing, yet Pete Hegseth is just sharing classified information with his buddies at Fox, his wife, his brother, his attorney, and more. It is absolutely insane that this is what the Trump administration is doing, and this is what the leaders in the Trump administration are doing. This is what happens when you appoint incompetent people to really important positions. You get stories like this time and time again. Now, this is not the end for Pete Hegseth. It only goes downhill from here, because we got some more news this evening that Politico has published a piece from John Uliot, hopefully I'm pronouncing his name correctly, who just resigned as a top Pentagon spokesman, huge supporter of Donald Trump, warning that the department is in chaos and predicting it will likely cost Pete Hegseth his job, saying, quote, "The last month has been a full-blown meltdown." Let's just dive right into the story because it is insane. This is, again, coming from somebody who worked in the Pentagon. They write, quote, "It's been a month of total chaos at the Pentagon, from leaks of sensitive operational plans to mass firings. The dysfunction is now a major distraction for the president, who deserves better from his senior leadership. Donald Trump has a strong record of holding his top officials to account." I totally disagree there, but this is his writing. Given that, it's hard to see Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth remaining in his role for much longer. The latest flashpoint is near collapse inside the Pentagon's top ranks. On Friday, Hegseth fired 3 of his most loyal senior staffers, and their names are listed right there. In the aftermath, Defense Department officials working for Hegseth tried to smear the aides anonymously to reporters, claiming that they were fired for leaking sensitive information as part of an investigation ordered earlier this month. Now, the irony there is that Pete Hegseth is the one actually leaking private information when he shouldn't. The article goes on, he continues to write, it's quite long, but he says, in short, the building is in disarray under Hegseth's leadership. Disarray, once again, coming from a former top Pentagon spokesperson who just resigned because of the chaos. I want to continue reading this article. And he says that, including the firing of Hegseth's top advisors, he writes, quote, "That was just the beginning of the month from hell. The Wall Street Journal and other outlets reported that Hegseth brought his wife, a former Fox News producer, to 2 meetings with foreign military counterparts where sensitive information was discussed. Next, the Pentagon set up a top-secret briefing by the Joint Chiefs of Staff on China for Elon Musk, who still has extensive business interests in China. We talked about that on this channel. After learning about it, the White House canceled that meeting. They only canceled it after they learned about it. Then came the purges, and the news kept coming. On Sunday night, the New York Times reported that Hegseth shared detailed information about the Yemen strikes in another Signal chat that included his wife and brother. Now, here is the bomb here that I think is crucial. There are very likely more shoes to drop in short order, with even bigger bombshell stories coming this week, key Pentagon reporters have been telling sources privately. Once again, a former top Pentagon spokesperson saying this. And I want to prove to you that this is a MAGA guy. This is a Trump supporter, this former spokesperson. He wrote in the same article, one reason the American people gave Trump a conclusive victory last November is that he's not a go-along, get-along creature of the Beltway like many of his recent predecessors. He went on to slam Joe Biden, saying that he's responsible for the withdrawal, from Afghanistan and all of these different things. He's very much praising Donald Trump and slamming Joe Biden and the Democrats. But he also concludes the article by saying the president deserves better than his current leadership at the Pentagon, given his record of holding prior cabinet leaders accountable. Don't agree with that. Many in the secretary's own inner circle will applaud quietly if Trump chooses to do the same in short order at the top of the Defense Department. So once again, a guy, huge Trump supporter, who worked at the Pentagon is saying that Pete Hegseth has to go. And I would agree. Pete Hegseth absolutely has to go. What we're reading right now, what we're learning about tonight, is unacceptable from leadership in the highest aspects of the federal government, people that should be competent, people that shouldn't be making mistakes like this, either on purpose or by accident, and they're doing it. That's what the Trump administration is all about. And I think that this person writing this article probably has experience in the Pentagon, but they probably don't have experience with Donald Trump, because we, the American people, have seen him for years brush off the mistakes of his administration. We learned about Signalgate a while ago, where Pete Hegseth was sharing classified information and Donald Trump defended him. He defended Waltz, who was part of that chat, also sharing classified information. And I just think that this story is so ironic, given Pete Hegseth's past comments on classified information and politicians who handled them. Just take a look at what he had to say all the way back then when President Biden was in office about Joe Biden and classified information. Just take a look at the irony here.
FBI seems happy to take the word of Biden's lawyers, which is why it does feel like it's so much different than what happened to Donald Trump.
Well, look, unless the FBI is paying those personal attorneys, they shouldn't be taking anybody's word but their own investigators in the DOJ.
No.
I mean, that's their job. Unless they're getting paid. And if they are, that would be our money. So maybe we go deeper. I don't think they are. But what else would be the reason for why at this point you don't tap every place he's ever been since he left office as a senator 15 years ago, since you know some of the latest documents date back to then? Why aren't you now going every place he's been? And by the way, who else has been with all those papers? Maybe you have 1,000 places you need to go now, depending on how many hands touched them.
Yeah, I mean, he is the president of the United States, which does create complications. But it also increases the urgency. If the top man in the job handled classified documents this flippantly for that long, why was that the case? Was it really that he didn't know? Because when you take something out of a skiff, if you're a senator,
I don't know, Pete, is it really that you didn't know? Did you accidentally put people in a group chat? Are you handling classified documents so flippantly? I mean, isn't the irony just remarkable here? Every accusation is a confession with these people like Pete Hegseth, where they're saying, oh, Joe Biden did this. Joe Biden was obviously cleared of any wrongdoing, but Joe Biden did this. Joe Biden did that. Meanwhile, later, they're the ones sharing classified information in Signal group chats, in multiple Signal group chats. And we only know about the 2 for now. There could be more that this former Pentagon spokesperson is hinting at coming out later this week. But isn't it ironic that people like Pete Hegseth were tossing stones at Joe Biden just for them to go on and share America's secrets in Signal group chats with their wife, brother, lawyer, and apparently more people that haven't been reported yet? So this is the breaking news for the Trump administration tonight that is rocking their world, that is likely to cause a major headache for Donald Trump. And we will see if Pete Hegseth stays in this job. If I had to take a guess, he probably will, because Trump doesn't hold his own administration accountable, never has, never will. But we'll wait and see on this one. So I will leave the video there. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here. Make sure to subscribe down below. It goes an incredibly long way. I really appreciate it. Also, drop a like on the video and comment. Let me know what you think about this story. And as always, I greatly, greatly appreciate you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.